How's it going, guys? It's Buck up in North Queensland on another beautiful warm day. Easter Monday. Another public holiday. And it's time for another bloody backyard cook-up in the Drifta kitchen. I'll do this one in the Drifta kitchen, guys, because it's a little bit of fiddling around. And this recipe today is quite special to me, guys. 1984, I met a bloke called John Papadopoulos, and to this day he's still my best mate. And we still work together. We bloody did a lot of years together in the army and signals corps, and we work together now as bloody prison officers, guys. And he's a bloody, as I said, he's my best mate. We've been best mates for a long time now. And when we were in the army, I quite often used to go up with him to Cairns and visit his dad. And his dad's Mick Papadopoulos. He's passed away now. He passed away when I was still in the police force, so probably 12, 13 years ago now, I guess. And I remember one weekend we were home and Mick made this little recipe up for me there, a little Greek dessert. And I bloody wrote it down on a bit of paper, and I've still got it in the house somewhere. And do you think for the life of me I could find it? I got on to Pap the other night and I said, mate, your dad's little dough things, your honey puffs. I said, I need the recipe. So Pap got onto his cousin Angela down in Melbourne, and Angela sent him the recipe in Greek, and Pap's managed to find it in English also, and transcribe it for me. Thanks, mate. And we're going to do them up today. And as I said, geez, everyone's got a story, and didn't Mick have a story? A young Greek boy, and I've written it down because I knew I'd forget it, guys, from a little village or a little town in Greece outside Athens called Megara. And he was born and bred there, and my mate Pap went back over there when he was 16 and worked in Megara for about 8 or 9 months. And I remember Pap would always ring his dad on Sunday night from the phone box in the army. There was a phone box outside the barracks, and you'd always hear Pap talking in Greek to his dad. And Pap can still talk Greek now. He's a bit rusty on it now, he reckons. But these little honey puffs were bloody beautiful, and I'm going to do it. And throughout the cook-up, I'm going to tell you a few stories about Mick Papadopoulos, guys, because he was a Greek immigrant after World War II. He came out to Australia, and he worked on the bloody Snowy River Hydro scheme, as a lot of the immigrants did. And as you know, a lot of Greek and Italian immigrants come out after the war. And haven't they become such an important part of Australia now, the Greek and the Italian community? Originally went to Melbourne. For those watching overseas in America and that, guys, Melbourne has got apparently the second highest population of Greek people in the world outside Athens. How about that? You imagine how many other big towns and cities are in Greece. Well, Melbourne's got the second highest population. And Mick originally went to Melbourne. Pat was born and bred in Dandenong down there in Victoria, and anyway, many years later, Pap's dad, Mick Papadopoulos, he went up to Cairns, to Kawara Beach and that, and he ended up buying a mango farm up near Mareeba, and he passed away up in Mareeba quite a few years ago now. Anyway, so this is a bit of a tribute cook-up, and I'm going to call them Mick Papadopoulos's Honey Puffs. How about that? Now, listen, there's apparently a real name for them, and in Greek, it translates to Leucomades. I hope I've said that right, Pap. Leucomades, it's not spelt that way. And from Pap's dad's little place in Greece, they had their own dialect of the language over there, and they used to call them Kouchoublis. But a lot of Greek people wouldn't know them as Kouchoublis. They'd probably know them as Leucomades. Now, the other thing too, it wasn't a dessert that you used to cook every night. Apparently, over in Greece, they used to cook them up on New Year's Eve. And they cook up a big batch of these Leucomades and honey puffs, and they go around and give them to their neighbours as a sign of goodwill. And it was only like a once a year cook up, and it was a bit of a good gesture thing between the Greek people. So that's what we're going to do today, but we're going to call them Mick Papadopoulos's Honey Puffs, or dough things as I used to call them. I tell you what, they're all right. And I'll go quickly through the ingredients now. We need 2 cups of plain flour. We need a sachet of yeast that you buy at Coles or Woolies, the yeast there. We need a cackleberry or a bum nut. 1 egg. What else do we need? We only need a tablespoon of sugar. They say caster sugar, guys. I've just got normal white sugar. That'll do. It still dissolves. We need a cup of milk, warm milk. And look at that one, Norco, guys. Aussie milk, owned by Aussie farmers. I used to always use dairy farmers and bloody find out it's Chinese owned. Well, there goes that. I'll never buy that stuff again. Norco, Australian percent, 100% Aussie owned. Some Aussie honey to sprinkle over them at the end, guys. This is pure Aussie honey, and I tell you what, it's only from 20 minutes down the road here at a little place called Mina Creek here in far north Queensland. Mina Creek, 100% Aussie honey. We got some Australian butter. We got some bloody cinnamon. Don't know where that's from. It's not important at the moment. Cinnamon to sprinkle over them at the end, and some sesame seeds. Now, apparently the original recipe doesn't have sesame seeds, but I remember Pap's dad, Mick, he always used to put sesame seeds over his, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, we'll get in, and I'll just prep some stuff, and we'll come back and we'll show you how to get the mixture done, because we have to let it sit for an hour and a half to let the yeast do its stuff, and then we'll come back later this afternoon, and we'll cook them up, and I reckon they're going to be bloody nice, especially with maybe a bit of ice cream, bit of cream with them, would go well too. But before this stuff all gets hot, I'll just get the stuff on. So basically what we need right now is a cup of warm milk. So I'm just going to need a cup of warm milk and just heat it up on the primer stove just so it's warm. And then I'm going to get 2 tablespoons of that milk and I'm going to dissolve the yeast in it, okay, and put it in the bowl. Speaking of my favourite bowl, this is the one we bought out at Ayers Rock at Uluru, guys, from the souvenir shop there, the old indigenous bloody bowl, made in China probably. So I'm going to do it all up in there. So a cup of warm milk, dissolve the yeast, and then we're going to a 1/4 cup of butter, the sugar, and we're going to sieve the flour in, we're going to mix it up, and then we've got to let it sit. Alright, I'll get in, I'll prep everything up, and we'll come back, eh? I've been using these for a while. I'm going to put them to good use, guys. My old bloody army cups, canteen steel. I've even still got the old bloody, the handles taped so they don't clang at night. Bit of bloody night discipline there, because if you clang them shut, the sergeant used to bloody put a size 10 up your ass. Well, that's what I used to do to the diggers when I got up to that rank. Righto, so first thing I'm going to do, I'll put the egg in that stubby holder there so I don't bloody smash it. Cup of milk. Use a measuring cup for this if you got one. In she goes. Righto. Just going to quickly put that on the primer stove and just heat that up, and then I'll come back and I'll get that back in the fridge and we'll dissolve that yeast up. What I'm going to do in the other cups, canteen steel is dissolve about 1/4 of a cup of butter. So I'll get that one on, just nice and low. There we go. I'll just warm the milk up and I'll dissolve the butter. Get the butter back in the fridge or it'll dissolve all over this bench. It's pretty warm today. Righto. So I'm the messiest cook in the world, bar nobody. Unbelievable, the bloody. So I'll try and keep my kitchen clean as I go. Ros doesn't even come out and watch anymore because she just shakes her head watching me like bloody Cyclone Yasi going through the kitchen. Righto. It's great having that bloody water on tap there too. Give that a bit of a stir. Righto. No, needs a little bit more. We'll come back soon. Righto, we're into it. First thing I'm going to do is open the sachet of yeast, which is 2 years old. I couldn't find any in bloody Coles the other day, but we found some in the cupboard. I hope it's still okay. Righto. That's the other good thing about taping your handles, they're not too hot to pick up. So I've warmed the milk up. All we're going to do is put a little bit of milk in, probably 2 tablespoons worth. Pour that on there, and I'm just going to stir that yeast into the warm milk. And what the warm milk does is lets the yeast start activating. How's that for a big word? For me, activating. I don't know what that means, but apparently it's important that you always put the yeast in the warm milk, try and dissolve it a bit there. Give it a good stir. Righto. Okie doke, that's just about dissolved. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to pour that into my bowl. Then I'm going to pour the rest of the warm milk in. And this is where we just start throwing stuff in everywhere. I've melted me 1/4 cup of butter, roughly. Give it a stir. In goes the butter. Now, what else am I going to do? I'm going to put in, how much was it? A bloody spoon, I think. Yeah, a tablespoon of sugar. White sugar or caster sugar if you've got it, guys. White sugar will do. Dissolve that. Righto, what else are we going to do? We're going to throw an egg in. In goes a bum nut. Crack it on a flat surface. In she goes. Put him over there. Righto, now I'm going to give this a good stir up because we've got to beat that egg up. Give it a good beat. So the warm milk, the yeast will be starting to do its stuff in there now. And what the yeast does is we let it sit in a warm spot, which is right here, with a tea towel over the top. And once we mix the flour in, it'll bloody activate it and it rises, okay, because it's only plain flour. Now, let me have a look here. I'll make sure I haven't forgotten anything while I'm stirring. Yeast, warm milk, sugar, egg, melted butter. Righto. Righto, and that's the rest is after they're cooked. So what I need now is just about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, guys. Bit like a damper. You think salt, you do it in a damper too. A little bit of salt. 1/4 teaspoon, not too much. We're just mixing that nicely. Righto. Give her a mix now. Our next thing is we're going to sift in 2 cups of plain flour. Oh, this is a grand beauty, straight out of the freezer. Always keep me flour in the fridge or the freezer, guys, so the bloody weevils don't get to it. So, come on, out you come. Plain flour. 1. And they'll kookaburra arcing up over there. I was hoping they'd do it the other morning when I was camping, but they didn't. We've got heaps of kookaburras around here, and we're just going to sift in 2 cups of plain flour, just so it's nice and fine and it's not lumpy. Always carry a bloody something like this in your camper trailer if you can. Any lumps left over, hoik them out. That was a good trick, Buck, you idiot. Righto, now we're going to mix it in. That's where you get the kids helping if you want. And we've got to give this a real good mix up now, guys. Get it into a nice fine, like a batter. Now listen, if you think it's too thick, maybe a little bit more milk, but you should be right. We'll give it a mix. Keep mixing, and this looks like it's going to be just fine. And it says give it a good mix for a minute or so until all the lumps are out of it. So I'll keep doing that and then we'll come back. Okie doke, guys, so you can see there, it's a nice thick batter. And that's how we want it, because this has got to rise now. Hope you can see that all right. No lumps. Righto, let's get all that out of the beater there. Right, I just stuffed up moving the camera, so what I'll do now is just cover it up with a little hand towel or a tea towel, whatever you've got, just so the flies and that can't get in there. Now this is a nice warm place. She's under the canvas and all that type of stuff. I don't know what the time is. I'll check it when I get inside now. I'm going to keep this for an hour and a half now, and this is going to just about double in size. As long as that yeast is activated and is doing its stuff, that'll double in size. Come back in an hour and a half and give it one more quick stir, and then we're right to bloody spoon out some dollops of that batter. We're going to deep fry it, and then we're going to sprinkle some honey and some cinnamon and some sesame seeds over the top, and they're going to be bloody nice. I'll tell you another great story while I'm going. I was going to tell it while I was cooking them, but As I said, Mick Papadopoulos, John's dad, my good mate John. I call him Pap. Everyone calls him Pap or Papa. He, one of the fantastic stories I remember him telling me when I was visiting him up there in Cairns, and he told us about when he was a kid during World War II, guys, in Greece. And he was about 10 years old in his local village, and the Germans were occupied Greece at the time, and he was only 10 years old, and he snuck out one night and with the intentions of stealing a loaf of bread off the Germans, and because Greece was occupied by Germany at the time, and he snuck into the German camp to the field kitchen or whatever, and he stole a loaf of bread, and just as he got the loaf of bread, a German soldier caught him, and he reckons he put that bloody big German, he remembers a big black German boot went fair up my ass, and it actually hit him that hard it lifted him off the ground. But he said when he hit the ground he held onto that loaf of bread, and he got up and he ran all the way home, and he fed his family with that loaf of bread that he stole off the Germans. He thought he was going to get shot, but anyway, the German soldier just put a boot up his ass, and but he said, I wasn't going to let that loaf of bread go for no one. It's just incredible, you know. And you know, many years later, his son John joins the Australian Army at age 17, the same as I did. Leave school at 17, go and join the Army. Anyway, John's first time home on leave, back down to Melbourne, and he takes his slouch hat down, his Aussie slouch hat, and he shows his dad. And when Mick saw the badge on John's hat, the Australian Rising Sun badge, the badge of the Australian Army, and his eyes lit up, and he said to John, I've seen that badge before somewhere. He said, I've seen that badge. He said, when I was a kid. And he thinks it was when he was over in Greece. As you know, the Australians were fighting over in Crete and Greece, guys. They the Germans booted the British and the Australians and that out of Crete, the German paratroopers, and they retreated back to Greece and that. And John's dad, Mick, reckons that it must have been an Australian soldier that showed him his hat when he was over there and had the Rising Sun badge on it. Fast forward all them years, Mick comes out to live in Australia. He meets another Greek lady. They have John. John joins the Australian Army, comes home on leave and shows Dad this badge, and it reminded him of when he was a kid in the war. So it must have been an Aussie soldier back then that showed him his Rising Sun badge back in World War. What a fantastic story that is. Just incredible, eh? It's just bloody puts nerves, bloody the hair on the back of your neck up when you hear stories like that. Just, I don't know, is that a coincidence or not? I don't know. It's bloody too good to be true, isn't it? Anyway, listen, I'll stop jibber jabbering, and we'll come back. A couple more stories about Mick, and we'll do the cook up this afternoon. Now, Angela said, Pap's cousin down there in Melbourne, don't use olive oil, guys, to deep fry. Apparently it can go carcinogenic, whatever that is. It's a big word too, isn't it? Carcinogenic, if that's how you even say it. But always use, when you're deep frying, olive oil's great for certain things, guys. Putting on your steaks and all that type of stuff, and putting over salads and that. But when you want a shallow fry and that, use a good vegetable or a canola oil, something that's, you know, got good cholesterol rating and all that type of stuff. Product of Australia, this one too, guys. As I said, I'm trying to, where I can, especially with food, try get Aussie made stuff, Aussie stuff, if we can. I know it's going to be hard with all the other stuff. Everything we buy now is Chinese made, isn't it? But hey, we can at least do it with our food that we buy from Coles and Woolies. Try and buy Aussie stuff. Anyway, so yeah, don't use olive oil to deep fry. I've done it before, I must admit, and I wasn't aware of that. So Angela, if you're watching, thank you very much for letting us know about that. I'll pass the info on. So yeah, use a good vegetable oil, canola oil, something like that. What's another one? Grapeseed oil, some sort of oil that very good at high temperatures anyway. Righto, do your stuff, yeast, and hopefully I'll come back in an hour and a half, and that'll be twice its size, and we'll start doing Mick Papadopoulos's honey puffs. You bloody beauty. Righto guys, it's been 2 hours and it's risen a fair bit, and there's bubbles, and that's what they reckon we needed. So we'll give it another quick stir. Right, it's very sticky, which I think's the way it's supposed to be. See how it's like a real sticky mixture, almost like like a bread thing, isn't it? Oh, yeah, see? Really. Right, okay, we'll heat the oil up, and I reckon we're nearly ready to start cooking, eh? Righto, moment of truth, guys. Let's see if the oil's hot enough. I'll just dunk a bit of this in. Should start sizzling, which it does. Righto. So, let's have a go. As I said, I can only stuff it up. We'll get a spoonful and we'll drop it in, eh? Righto, there's one. Two. Three. We'll do 5 at a time, eh? 4. 5. There's no shapes. That's it. 5 of them. Righto, what I'll do now, grab me little bloody Asian thing here, separate them, and we just let them float around in the nice hot oil. They'll puff up, and we get them nice and golden and brown. Oh, yeah, you can see why they're called honey puffs. See how they puff up? Once they puff up, we'll just start stirring them around. Wow, look at that. Oh, they're going nice and golden on that side already. They should only need a minute or so, guys. Just so they're nice and gold. See that? Oh, they're coming up good, aren't they? Oh. Righto. I reckon another 30 seconds, I'll be just about right. Try and get them nice and gold on both sides if we can. Well, they puffed up. I wonder what... I didn't think they'd puff up like that, but they do. I'll turn that oil up a little bit, just a little bit more. You don't want the oil too low or the oil soaks in otherwise. Just get them nice and golden so they're a little bit crunchy on the outside, I guess. As I said, I've never cooked these before, guys. This is all bloody new to me. Spin him around. They're just about ready. Righto, I reckon they're time to come off. I'm going to put them on this little basket here to drain through onto some paper towel. I think that's the trick, make sure they drain really well. Oh geez, I nearly lost that one. Oh, get over there. Righto, let that oil get back up to temperature and I'll give you a look at the puffs. Well, there they are. Look at that. I'm pretty sure they're cooked. Alright, we'll do another batch. Righto, another batch going on. One. This is the hard bit, getting it off the spoon. There's probably a trick to it. Pap, if you're watching, mate, what's the trick? Come on, come off. 3. Alright guys, I won't put you through all that again. We'll just get another 5 in. 4. And come on. 5, there we go. Make sure they don't stick together. Another batch on, I reckon, minute and a half. I'll get them a little bit golden and we'll bring them out. Second batch almost done. Oh, Mick Papadopoulos. He was a funny old bugger, eh? Right till the day he died, he was trying to give up smoking. He used to smoke Benson and Hedges, and he'd always keep a tally on the table how many he smoked each day. It never got less, but he just made him feel better that he was at least trying to count how many smokes he was having. Yeah, he loved the Three Stooges. We're always eye gouging each other and carrying on like the Three Stooges. And he used to call me Paponi Kafala. And I said to him one day, I said, what the bloody hell does Paponi Kafala means? And he goes, Rockmelon Head. That was his nickname for me. I don't know how he came up with that, but he did. Me and Pap, we always laugh about his dad, all the funny stories. Him on the tractor and bloody up at Mareeba and that. When something didn't go right, he'd always go, you bloody bastard. And he loved his Turkish coffee. He loved his little strong coffees in the morning. He used to always get Turkish coffee, believe it or not. And here we go, another batch just about done. Yeah, he'd always make a real little strong Turkish coffee, just water and coffee, and you could almost stand your spoon up in it. And he used to cook us up a strong coffee whenever we were there. Second batch coming off. That's the way, you know, you always, same as my dad, you always think of the funny things and the good things. And I'm sure that's what John does with his dad. And I'm hoping now with John's kids, he's got 8 of his own kids now, guys, and I'm hoping his kids will get to see this video and they might learn something about their granddad, old Mick Papadopoulos. And maybe the kids can try this at home too, Pape. So yeah, here's granddad's bloody honey puffs. Righto, I'll stop jibber jabbering now. I'll get them all done. We'll get them on a plate. I've got the honey sitting out in the sun to go nice and warm, and then we'll come back and we'll finish off. Righto guys, I got them done. Have a look at them. Look how they puff up. Bloody beauty. Now, this is how we finish them off now. Oh, Mick Papadopoulos honey puffs. Wouldn't be honey puffs if we didn't put bloody honey on there. We're going to use good Aussie honey. Keep it out in the sun, or put it in the microwave. We're going to good generous sprinkle of honey all over them, guys. Heaps of it. Oh yeah, get it down in the cracks there. Get it all over them. Oh, beautiful. Heaps of honey. Right, now, Mick never, the actual recipe for Lucamadas, I think that's the proper Greek name, doesn't say sesame seeds, but Mick used to put sesame seeds on, so we're gonna honour Mick and we're gonna do it, mate. Here we go. We're gonna sprinkle some sesame seeds over. It's all gonna stick to that honey and go everywhere too, but doesn't matter. Righto, some sesame seeds. And the final thing, guys, this is going to be fun in the wind, some cinnamon powder. Ground cinnamon powder, here we go. From a height, no, I won't go from a height, it's bloody. Get it in there. I got more over myself than the things. Hang on, my little note's gone here. Righto, let's clean up a bit. Geez, Jamie Oliver would kill me, or Gordon Ramsay if they saw me. There you go, guys. I'm going to call them Mick Papadopoulos' honey puffs. Now, over in bloody Loukoumats. Now, apparently it's pronounced Lucamadas. I think that's how you say it. All the Greek people out there, let me know. And if you're from Megara in Greece, they used to call them Kouchoublis, and they used to do them on New Year's Eve and take them around and give them to their neighbours on New Year's Eve as a gesture of goodwill. Righto, time for the taste test. I'm going to get one into me. Righto. Light and fluffy. Oh. Shit, they're nice. I've nailed another one. There you go, guys. You got to give them a go. They're not that hard to do. Bit of prep work, but I'll tell you what, the kids will love them. I'm going to take them in for Roz. We're going to have them a little bit of cream too. You could couple for the kids, bit of ice cream on the side, bit of normal cream, bit of whipped cream. Oh, but they're beautiful just by themselves. Anyway, Pat, mate, if you're watching, I'm sure you will, because I'm going to send you this clip. I hope I've done your dad proud, mate. He was a bloody terrific man, and I'll always remember him. I really will. Dizzy was a funny old bugger. And those stories from World War II, just incredible, aren't they? What people went through. You know, everyone's got a story, guys, so always take the time to sit down with people and hear their stories, because every now and then you'll hear a story and you'll just go, wow, that was incredible. Alright guys, that's it for another cook up from the Drifta kitchen. Gonna get out and make the bloody bed now so I can sleep out here tonight. But give it a go. For all the people from Greek descent, Sammy Papadopoulos up there in Cairns, let me know, mate, have you made them yourself? If not, give them a go and how'd me pronunciation go of it. Alright guys, hope you're good, hope you're enjoying me cook ups. There's not a lot I can do. Everyone reckons they're still enjoying them, so I'll keep them coming, and I'll try and do little different things like this, eh? Talking with my mouth full. Alright, take care, be good to each other, hang in there, this shit'll be over one day and we'll all be back to normal, eh? Anyway, there you go. Mick Papadopoulos's honey puffs. Hey, you beauty. See you guys.